everybody, it's Dr. V. Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do a reading that I haven't done for a while on my channel. It's called the Do I Ever Cross Your Mind reading. And I have a sense that there's a lot of people who have been feeling or have been suspecting they might be having communication, or they have been feeling their twin closer to them, kind of hovering around, orbiting lately. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that reading. Before I get started, I'm going to just set sacred space with the Universe Juice by the Starry Cauldron Tarot, or I'm sorry, the Starry Cauldron. I'll post that link in my description box. Also, if you want a private reading, all of that information is below. If you're interested in the coaching group that starts in January, all of that information is below. The pre-sale rate is available until December 15th. And I am also running a drawing. So if you enter the drawing, you can win a free self-study course that's going to be available in January. So that is that. Also, today is my big brother's birthday, so send him lots and lots and lots of love. And let's get going. Spirit, please use me as a clear channel for communication. May the messages that come through be in the highest good of all those concerned. I draw a sacred circle around this space, setting my ego to the outside. I call upon my guides, ancestors, divine love, higher wisdom to be with me, protect this space, protect these messages. May they serve the collective to the highest good. And so it is. Okay, so I'm going to do this a little differently than I usually do. I'm going to start off with this deck, which is, I'm not going to put it out here. This is the Magical Spellcasters Tarot. And so I'm going to pull a card from there, another one from the Oracle of Mermaids, and another one from the Power of Love deck. And so we're going to get a nice little cross-section of what's going on with this connection. So for the first question that we're going to ask is, do they miss you? Is the person that you're thinking of right now, do they miss you? So let's get started. So the first card that comes out is, wow, we've got the Three of Cups. Interesting. The Mermaid card, we have Divine Sensuality. Holy Toledo. Holy Toledo, Batman. So right here we have the Three of Cups, right? This is a card of celebration. This is a card of joy. It's happiness. It's abundance. It's just feeling kind of like, if you look at them, they're partying, they're like dancing above the water. There's really, it's like, what I'm getting is that when they think of you, they're thinking of you in this Three of Cups sense, this celebration, the times that you had together, the fun times, the joy, the, eating together, having drinks together, whatever it was, the time that you spent together, they're thinking of it in a really positive, fond manner. They're looking back and thinking about how nice it was to be in that space, to feel like they were like floating on the air. They're feeling that sense. And they're also, if you look at this divine sensuality, they're thinking about the divine sensuality that the two of you shared. This literally says making love erotica. So if you were not physically intimate with your partner, that doesn't mean that they aren't thinking about it, they weren't fantasizing about it. If you were, they're really thinking about it right now. It's very much in their present mind. They miss that. They miss that divine sensuality. Like they may have other partners, they may have a primary relationship, a karmic partner, whatever. But it's different. It's not the same. It's not that it's not enjoyable, if they're having sensual or sexual encounters with other people, but it's not the same, and they know it and they miss it. And so the message from the Power of Love cards is willingness. Wow. If you're able to compromise, you are able to compromise if the end result is love. So that's the thing right now, guys, is that they're sitting here thinking about this situation. As they think about it, they're like, wow, maybe if I was just more willing to compromise, things would be different. And they may be thinking about the fact that they were the ones who were stubborn, who weren't willing to compromise, who it had to be their way or the highway, and they're kind of missing that. They're maybe thinking about, like, you know, I should have really compromised. I should have been more flexible, more willing to bend, because if I had, then I would have this, I would have this, I would have all of these things that I'm missing in my life that were at my doorstep, that it was in my grasp, and I walked away from it because I was unwilling to do the hard stuff, unwilling to compromise what I thought was right, what I thought was true, and now I'm sitting here empty-handed, missing all of this because I wasn't willing to compromise. So what is it that they want you to know? Wow. That's crazy. I'm saying that's crazy because it's like the Hierophant is about like institutions. This is about like marriage, commitment. This is about things like that. So the thing is that they're thinking about that. What they want you to know is that they have thought about this. They have thought about coming back and offering that more traditional kind of situation. If they were in a karmic situation, or they were like, I don't want to get married, I don't want a commitment, I don't want to be like locked down, I want my freedom. They've been rethinking that. They're like, I don't know, man, maybe I really want to come back and have this connection. Maybe I really want to come back and have this more traditional type of relationship with this person. This card says wonder voyage, crossing deep waters, pilgrimage, and journey of the soul. So what they want you to know is that this really has been a voyage for them. This connection with you has caused them to go on that journey of the soul. They've had to dig deep into their own waters. It has been like the pilgrimage is going out and journeying, right? So they have had to go and journey in this. You may have been wondering, did it even impact them? Did it even matter? Do they even care? And this card is saying abso-freaking-lutely. It launched them on their own journey. It's not just you. It's not just you that have been on this path. If you've been questioning, I shared a video last night from Melanie over at Whole Again 1111 about the question was, is this twin flame journey even real, or is it a hoax? And she did a really great reading, and so if you haven't had a chance, it's in the community tab. You can go take a peek. But one of the things is that we often think that it's a hoax, that it's not real. Like, maybe I'm just imagining this. Maybe I'm just creating this in my own head because it's what I want to believe. But what this is saying to me is that even if you haven't seen it, even if you don't know it, it did launch them on their own journey, and they've had some soul growth as a result. And from the journey, the power of love. This is creativity. You love to devise new ideas, innovations, and forms of illumination. So what they want you to know is that they're trying to be creative, trying to find creative approaches to this situation. Before, when they were unwilling to compromise, they were unwilling to look at different opportunities, different avenues. They recognized that actually served to keep them stuck from getting to the love that they want. And so they're realizing that they have to be creative, that they're going to have to be innovative and find new ways, that they're not going to create a new experience with the same old thinking. I think it was Einstein that said you can't solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that created it. And they're starting to realize that they're like, oh, okay, really, I'm not going to be able to get out of this situation until I really get creative and see it in a different way, because what I've been doing, if I approach it the same way I've always approached things, it's going to continue being the same thing. So what's holding them back at this point? So we have the Ten of Cups in reverse. Then we have the crane bag and compassion. So the thing that is holding them back right now the most is the Ten of Cups in reverse. This is a little bit of lingering doubt. They still have some doubt that this is going to be everything that they want it to be. They might have they like want to believe that it's possible, but they're not. Right now, they're not finding themselves in an environment, they're not in a situation that feels trusting, that feels supportive. They may be in a situation, there's a lot of battling and discord, is that the word? Yes, with other people. So it could be that they're having issues at work or in their family environment. If they're in a relationship, a karmic partner or soulmate, that there may be some issues that are taking place. And so part of what's holding them back is that their energy is in that direction. It's dealing with the issues that are currently in their space, which isn't you. You have probably in many ways taken some steps back and have just been doing your own thing and not really consumed with that situation. And so what it has done is it's that created space where now they have the opportunity to face the stuff that they hadn't been dealing with in the past. And that is what they're having to deal with. This crane bag, it says, literally the first message that came through when I pulled it was baggage. What's holding them back? Baggage. They have stuff that they need to work through, stuff that they're working through now because they're on that soul's journey. So why they aren't coming forward right now is because they have to work through their baggage. It's like they understand that. Maybe when they were with you, they were like, oh, it's this other person that's the problem. It's, you listener that's the problem. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have all these issues. And then now they're in a situation where they're having the same type of issues again. They're having the same type of conflicts. And they're starting to recognize that it's not everybody else that's the problem. So they need to work through their baggage, their emotional baggage, their mental baggage, spiritual. They need to declutter. They need to make some different choices. They need to clear things out. This can be karma. They need to clear out some karma. They literally, physically may need to clear out their environment. I've actually been having a pretty intense purge this week myself, as well as some other people. I've talked to a couple of other twin flames this week that have had similar experiences, and it feels like that's what they're going through right now is a purge. They're decluttering. They're getting rid of some things that no longer serve. There may be people right now that I'm reading for. Some of you may have really, just in the last week or two, have really started facing your stuff and conquering negative behavior, self-sabotage, addictions, things like that. And if you're doing it, you can bet that they are too. If you're twin flames and you're mirroring each other, if you're doing the work, they are too. And part of the other thing that's holding them back right now is compassion. It says, you demonstrate the language of the heart by actively sharing and living love. So part of what's holding them back is that they're trying to be compassionate to people in their environment. This is specific for a specific group that are in karmic situations. They are trying to be compassionate to the other party. They don't want to be mean. They don't want to be cruel and cut people off in a quick way. They want to be kind and conscious about how they approach that. They're also trying to be compassionate to themselves and toward you, is what I'm getting, is that even if your person isn't in a karmic situation, if they know that they have baggage and they know that they have stuff that they need to work through, part of their compassion and behaving in love is not bringing that crap and dumping it on your doorstep. It's like there's this energy that their compassion is saying, hey, self clean up your own backyard. Take the mud off your boots before you start walking into their sacred sanctuary. It's like they're really not wanting to bring any clutter or mess, and so they're really doing their own work to not do that. So do they want to reunite? Wow, the sun. Wave of power. Look at that, you guys. I swear you cannot make this stuff up. And an acceptance. So the sun, they're looking at this again. It's like that song, I can see clearly now. They can see things clearly now. They're seeing things clearly now, maybe for the first time. And what that is doing is it's pushing them back towards you. It's pushing them towards you. They see this. The sun is the most positive card in the major arcana. It's about everything, like the possibilities, illumination, seeing things clearly, seeing hope for the future, seeing the brightness, like, me and my songs, my future is so bright, I gotta wear shades. That's how they feel. And so that when they're thinking about you, reuniting with you, coming back together with you, and they're seeing it in a positive light, seeing it as like it's really a possibility. And we have this wave of power, uprising in energy, exhilarating movement, a surge of power. I see the sun and the surge of power, a wave of power, as being very much like dynamic forward movements. Like I see this as them taking like decisive action towards you. This may not mean, I'm not saying that they're gonna like show up at your doorstep with like, a dozen roses and a ring, or anything like that. But I am saying that I feel like there's going to be a surge and a movement towards you, that you're going to have that. They're going to take this movement towards you, and you're going to have, the option at that point to choose what you want to do going forward. But I do feel like there's going to be, for a lot of you, there's going to be this like wave of power towards you. There's going to be this surge of energy that's going to come towards you. And it says acceptance. Part of what is happening, it says you're ready to release control of situations of people and lovingly embrace the rhythm of life. So what I'm getting from this is that for a lot of people, they were trying to micromanage their lives and trying to control things. And love is a force that you can't control. It's just beyond your control. You can't harness it. It's like trying to trying to cage a wild, what's the word I'm looking for, wind. It's trying to like capture the wind. You just can't do it. And it's like they're finally accepting that this situation, this dynamic connection between the two of you is so powerful that they just can't continue to try and fight it. They're going to release control and let it go. And that's going to be when they accept it and stop trying to fight against it, that's when this is going to happen. And that's when they're going to really want to come back and reunite in some way. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be like wanting to, get back together right away or whatever. It could even, it could really just be a communication, reopening the door of communication. But it's not going to be an insignificant move. So what are their fears right now? The devil. Wow. Oh my God, you guys, this reading is so beautiful. Like, I'm seriously, like, I feel so like, it just hit me right in the feels. The devil, what are they afraid of? Not that's not the devil, like the devil and like religion. The devil is about addictions. It's about codependence. It's about dependency. It's about limiting beliefs. They're afraid that is going to come back. They're afraid of really being too dependent on the connection or being, facing this stuff, facing their limitations, facing their fears. That's something that really scares them because it makes them feel vulnerable. The thing with you, the connection with you, it opened them up. Just the way that it opened you up, it opened them up. And I'm talking to those of you that have, really, truly, you're very sure that it was that you had a soul connection with this person. Just as it opened you up and made you feel vulnerable and all of that, it did the same for them. And they're afraid of that. They're afraid to get caught up in chains and bondage again. They don't want to be trapped. They don't want to go back into old limiting behaviors and beliefs, and they're kind of afraid to go in that direction. That's one of their biggest fears. It's not, again, it's not this isn't about like a religious kind of devil. So please get that. I feel like I had to say that again. That came up, so I have to say it again. But this is also about being seduced by the material world, by lesser things. They're afraid because they've been living in fear for such a long time. They've been caged for a long time. And I think it's the Psychic Tarot for the Heart by John Holland. It's the person is shown with their heart in a cage. They're afraid to let that out. They're afraid to get into that space of vulnerability. They're also afraid of self-love. Okay, they're realizing that they don't love themselves. This is a person who probably has deep-seated like self-loathing kind of behaviors where they really truly don't love themselves at a core level, and because of that, it really brings up a lot of their own negativity. And so they're realizing that they have to face that, and they're afraid of it. They're afraid of really acknowledging these beliefs and these things that have kept them playing small. So what are their regrets when it comes to you? Wow. Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Experiments. Oh my goodness. This is amazing. They had an opportunity for a new beginning, to build it on a solid foundation. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles in the upright is about building on a solid foundation. This is, digging the ground and evening. Your connection had the potential for them to build a future on a solid, stable foundation that was going to give them the things that they most wanted, the things that they craved, and they ran from it. This is like this. It didn't work out. The Ace of Pentacles in reverse is that the foundation wasn't solid. They might have done some things. Maybe they weren't honest. Maybe they didn't create the stability in the space that needed to be there, and so things didn't work out. It's like they and didn't take the time to build the foundation. They didn't take the time to really do what needed to be done. And so it didn't work out. And they really regret that. They recognize that had they slowed down and taken some time and done things properly, that things would be very different today. And so part of what they're regretting is this experiment. It says manipulation of nature, forcing change, cruelty in the pursuit of knowledge, and arrogance. So what I'm getting from that is that they really, this manipulation of nature, it's like they understood, or they're understanding now, that this was a situation that they really needed to move in. Like they tried to manipulate the divine and manipulate nature and kind of tried to control this situation because it felt safer than going with that. The vulnerability caused them to go into this space of arrogance and the arrogance of, I know better than the divine. Like, I know what's best for me. I know what I need. And it's not this connection or this person that just came into my life. And so they kind of tried to go in their own direction, like the Fleetwood Mac song. You can go your own way. They tried to go their own way, and now they're really regretting because in that there was some cruelty. They weren't kind to you. Some of them were very mean to you, very blocking you abruptly. I know that some of you have mentioned that in the comments, and some of the messages and the work that I've done with some of you has been about people that were like, everything was fine, and then one day they just blocked me randomly, and I felt so I feel so confused, and it was so mean, and I don't understand how they could love me one minute and then be so cruel the next. That's why, because they were trying to manipulate nature. They were trying to control things and trying to keep things in a space that they felt comfortable in, and that is what they did. And they regret that. They're really regretting that they behaved in that way. Their final card for what they regret is the expression. It says you're ready to manifest your thoughts and transform them into acts of love. They are really regretting that they didn't do that. Like I really get that a lot of them were like, this is what I said I always wanted. I always said I wanted to be in this space and to find this crazy kind of amazing connection with somebody. And then when it showed up, I sabotaged it. I ran away from nature. I didn't allow myself to take my thoughts and transform them into acts of love. I went into what was safe. I did what I always did. And now they're like in that space of regretting it. They're really feeling like I should have expressed myself more clearly. I should have done things a lot differently than what I did. I feel I need to come over here and grab another deck. So give me a second. I wasn't going to, but Spirit just prompted me. So I'm getting the Enchanted Map. So let me move these out of the way. I want to look at what path they're likely to take from this point forward. So this is the Enchanted Map by Colette Baron Reed. The other cards were the Mystical Spellcasters Tarot, I believe. The Oracle of the Mermaids by Lucy Cavendish, and The Power of Love by James Van Praagh. So, with the Enchanted Map, Spirit, can you give us some insight? Please, Spirit, give us some insight into what action is likely to be taken by the person for whom we are listening. What action are they likely to take? I'm sorry if you can hear my dogs upstairs. Goliath likes to chase the older pups around and just gets a little bit insane sometimes. So what action are they likely to take? Okay, I'm going to pull 3 cards for this. One Ring Circus, Solitude, and Movement. I love that. I love it, love it, love it. So the One Ring Circus, it says, Independence is key now as you step into your journey today. Others may not have the vision or resources that you need. Recognize that all the wisdom that you've acquired along the way makes you particularly competent, capable of moving forward with assurance. Self-reliance is also important. Another aspect to consider is creating and maintaining clear boundaries between you and another. Be discerning about your partnerships at this time. When you know who you are and have a healthy sense of where you and others begin, you're able to enter the best kind of relationship that will attract people who mirror back your wholeness. Interdependent relationships are always mutually supportive, stimulating, and transformative. You can achieve anything at this time. You guys, the action they're likely to take is to really, for those people who have been caught up in codependent relationships, codependent dynamics in the past, they're going to work that shit out. That's going to be something of the past. They're going to start setting boundaries and taking care of things and having interdependent, healthy relationships that aren't one-sided, that aren't toxic. They are doing their work. And this may mean that they're going to go into solitude for a while. This may not mean from you necessarily, but it feels like going into the inner spaces. This would be like, to me, this represents like the Hermit card, going within, doing some self-reflective work, meditating, getting clear about what it is that they want so they can transform their thoughts into intentions and then into actions. It says, empty your mind of I can't ever say that word. Anyway, extraneous thoughts, and allow stillness to flow through your whole being. Let that be hopeful to you. You can have a PhD and still not be able to pronounce certain words, like I can't say aluminum. It takes too much effort. This is an advantageous time to ask questions and push forward in any way. This is not an advantageous time to ask questions or push forward in any way. Rather, it's a period for conscious retreat. What's called for now is to step back and take your focus off of your life and your troubles. You'll be surprised how things sort themselves out once you've replenished your energy by means of a much needed rest and time out. So yeah, they're definitely going to take some space and kind of get clear about things. But when they're clear and when they've like set some boundaries and done some things that they need to do, there's going to be some freaking movement. Okay, there's going to be some things that are going to happen. That's just how it's going to be. They're going to take some steps forward. This card says it's time for positive movement as you come out of a period of restriction. Literally what that card is talking about. You're in a stage of new adventure and discovery. You may feel compelled to take a trip, change your hair, or move your home or business. Regardless, you can't remain where you are anymore. You feel compelled to go forward. No matter what your inquiry, you will see your dreams take form and doors previously shut begin to open as if by magic. Movement is also a state of mind. The fog lifts and now you know the actions you need to take. This isn't the time for fear. Let it go and move forward, you guys. You know, I am not one of those readers. I always say this. I'm not going to be the kind of person to blow smoke up your butt just to make you feel good. I'm not. That's just not how I am. I've never been. I never will be. I only read the messages as they come through. But this message today is very, very clear to me that you're the person for whom you're listening. If you've listened thus far and it has resonated, they're doing their work. And I do get very clearly that for many of them, they're going to reach out to you and they're going to contact you. There's going to be some, I feel like for a lot of you, there may be some of you that even reunite and come back together with your counterpart. I'm not going to sit here and say that means that it's going to be forever or that it's going to be happily ever after the end. Although if it is, y'all get married, I want an invitation. But but I am seeing movement forward. I feel like for those of you that have been feeling stuck and feel like things haven't been shifting for a long time, that is going to change. Things are going to shift and you're going to see some dynamic forward movement. And when it happens, it's going to happen quickly. It's going to be like, there's almost a sense of the people being like coming back together and having really clear going back to where you get into that space of like no time has passed and you just feel like things have you're like, well, it feels like we're never really apart. I know we were apart, but we just picked up where we left off. So I feel like that's really a possibility for a lot of you. So so I hope that this reading resonated. Please let me know if you have any questions and I'll talk with you all soon. Take care. Bye.